The sky darkened as the massive fleet of alien warships appeared, silent and immense. Blocking out the sun, like a shadow of doom descending upon Earth, people around the world stopped in their tracks. Eyes wide with disbelief and fear watching, the enormous shapes slowly move into position above their cities and forests. These were not ordinary ships. Their sleek, sharp edges gleamed coldly in the fading light, and strange symbols pulsed with eerie energy across their hulls. The aliens had come prepared, their technology far beyond anything humans had ever seen. Governments scrambled jets and activated defense systems, but deep down, a heavy doubt settled among soldiers and civilians alike. The invaders' goal was clear. They wanted Earth's resources, its rich lands and seas, and they planned to crush any resistance without mercy. Across the globe, millions waited anxiously, hearts pounding, knowing that a battle unlike any other was about to begin. News stations struggled to keep up as reports poured in cities losing power, communication networks faltering, strange signals jamming radio waves. People tried to hold on to hope, but the overwhelming power of the alien fleet cast a shadow of despair. Yet, amidst the growing panic, a quiet determination began to rise within humanity. Scientists and leaders exchanged hurried messages, working desperately to understand the enemy's technology. Ordinary citizens started organizing themselves in small groups, ready to protect their homes and families with whatever means they had. The air was thick with tension, every moment stretching longer as the aliens began their first moves, deploying smaller ships and robotic units to the surface. These machines landed in great numbers, their mechanical limbs clicking in worry as they started scanning the land, collecting samples and dismantling anything that resisted. Cities felt like trapped cages, the streets filled with confusion and fear. Still, the people watched, waited, and hoped for a chance to fight back. In secret underground bunkers and remote mountain camps, leaders and scientists shared rumors about strange patterns in the alien movements. Signs that maybe, just maybe, Earth was not as helpless as it seemed. But the invaders pressed on, their machines relentless, as if the planet itself were theirs to take without struggle. The human spirit, though battered and uncertain, refused to be crushed so easily. Somewhere in the rising tension, in the fear and confusion, a silent promise formed among the people: this fight would not end with defeat. The invaders might have arrived with power and weapons beyond imagining, but they had not yet learned the true strength that lived beneath the surface of this blue world. As the sun disappeared behind the fleet, casting the earth into an eerie twilight, the battle lines were drawn, and the first chapter of a war that would change everything had just begun. The invaders had expected Earth to fall quickly. They encountered was something they never predicted: a resistance unlike any they had seen before. The military forces of Earth fought bravely, but it was the ordinary people who truly surprised them. From bustling cities to remote villages, humans adapted with an incredible speed and creativity that left the aliens struggling to keep up. Soldiers who had been trained for war found themselves learning new tactics from civilians who knew the land better than anyone. Guerrilla fighters moved through forests, deserts, and mountains, striking swiftly and disappearing without a trace. They used whatever they could find: old vehicles, homemade weapons, even simple tools turned into traps to slow down the advanced machines and robots sent to destroy them. The communication between groups was quick and clever, using codes and signals that the aliens could not understand. The environment itself became a weapon in human hands. In dense jungles, fighters used the thick foliage to hide from sensors. In frozen wastelands, the bitter cold worked against the invaders' machines, causing them to malfunction. Cities, once expected to fall in hours, held on for days and then weeks. Underground tunnels and abandoned buildings became safe havens where people planned their next moves. The aliens watched with growing confusion and frustration. Their technology, so powerful and precise, was being met with unpredictable resistance. Every attempt to crush a group was met with new tactics, new surprises. It was as if the humans were learning and evolving faster than their machines could adapt. The invaders began to send more scouts and spies to study human behavior, hoping to find a weakness. But the more they learned, the more they realized how wrong they had been to underestimate Earth's inhabitants. The human spirit, fueled by fear but also hope and determination, was not something that could be measured or defeated with weapons alone. Stories spread among the invaders about fierce battles in small towns where a handful of humans had driven away entire squads of robots. Rumors told of people who used the planet itself, the rivers, the mountains, even the weather to protect their homes. The aliens, who once believed they were the masters of the battlefield, now found themselves reacting, adapting, and sometimes retreating. Earth was teaching them a lesson in resilience and ingenuity, a lesson that came not from advanced technology, but from the heart of its people. Despite the destruction and loss, humanity stood united in ways the invaders could not break. They fought not just for survival, but for their planet, their families, and a future they refused to give up. As the war dragged on, the atmosphere shifted from one of fear to one of fierce resistance. Every victory, no matter how small, was celebrated and shared, fueling the courage of those still fighting. The aliens, once certain of their swift conquest, now faced a battlefield that was anything but predictable. Earth was proving to be a place where strength came not just from power, but from Whelan. That strength was far greater than they had ever imagined. As the battle raged on, a group of scientists working in a hidden underground facility made a discovery that would change everything. Deep beneath the surface of the planet, they had been studying the connection between Earth's vast and diverse biosphere and the human mind. What they found was astonishing and natural planetary defense system that seemed to respond to the thoughts, emotions, and willpower of living beings, especially humans. This system was not a weapon in the traditional sense, but a powerful force, woven into the very fabric of Earth's life. It had remained dormant or unnoticed by previous visitors and invaders because it required a special bond, one that only humans, their creativity and spirit, could awaken. The scientists realized that this force worked by amplifying human adaptability and resilience, making the planet itself an ally in the fight against the alien threat. Plants and animals reacted in ways that helped humans evade and confuse the enemy, creating natural barriers and traps that no technology could easily overcome. Even the weather seemed to shift unpredictably, as if controlled by an invisible hand protecting its own. This living defense responded not only to physical threats, but to the collective determination of humanity. The stronger the humans' will to survive and protect their home, the more powerful the planet's response became. As the scientists shared their findings with military leaders and resistance fighters, a new hope spread among the people. It explained why, despite their advanced technology, the invaders had failed to dominate Earth quickly. The planet was fighting back in a way no enemy had expected. The aliens, on the other hand, remained unaware of this hidden edge at first. They saw only the surface battles and the human efforts, never suspecting that beneath their feet, the Earth itself was rising in defense. This revelation gave humanity a renewed sense of purpose. It was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a battle to protect a living world that had chosen to stand with them. People felt a deeper connection to their environment, using their creativity not only to build weapons and strategies, but also to work in harmony with the natural defenses, awakening all around them. Villages hid in forests where trees seemed to grow faster and thicker overnight, making it impossible for enemy machines to pass. Rivers changed course, slowing down or flooding areas to trap invaders. Animals that had once been cautious of humans now moved boldly to confuse or even attack alien forces. The unity of humans and Earth created an almost magical strength that turned the tide in unexpected ways. The aliens struggled to understand this strange resistance, watching their machines fail to adapt to the changing terrain and unpredictable obstacles. Their confidence began to waver as their carefully planned strategies crumbled against a defense that was part technology, part nature, and part human will. In secret, some invaders began to question their mission, whispering fears about a planet that fought back with more than just weapons. But it was too late to turn back. The battle for Earth had become a test, not just of power, but of the bond between a species and its home, a bond the invaders had never imagined. As the planet's hidden edge continued to reveal itself, humanity stood taller than ever, knowing that their fight was backed by the living heart of Earth itself. The war was far from over, but with this secret strength, the people of Earth had gained an advantage that no alien force could simply destroy. With the secret of Earth's living defense now in their hands, humans found a new strength that went beyond machines and weapons. The discovery changed everything. It's no longer relying solely on traditional armies and technology. Leaders and resistance fighters began to coordinate a counterattack that combined human ingenuity, the planet's natural powers, and a psychological edge that the aliens could not anticipate. From sprawling cities to hidden forests, humans worked together with a renewed sense of purpose, understanding that their survival depended on using every tool available, including the unpredictable forces of nature itself. Forests became battlegrounds, where trees and vines twisted and grew rapidly, forming natural barricades and traps that slowed down the invaders' machines. Rivers and oceans shifted their flows, creating floods and currents that swept away alien vehicles and stranded troops far from their targets. The skies, once silent and threatening with the presence of alien ships, now echoed with the sounds of coordinated human drones and aircraft, guided by the instincts of pilots who felt in tune with the planet's rhythms. But beyond the physical, battlefield humans used their psychological strength in ways that confused and demoralized the enemy. Small teams of fighters employed guerrilla tactics to strike unexpectedly and vanish, creating the illusion that Earth itself was alive and fighting back. Alien troops found themselves facing enemies who were unpredictable and resourceful, who used fear, hope, and determination as weapons. The counterattack was not just about destroying machines or ships, but breaking the invaders' belief in their own invincibility. Human communities sent messages of resistance and survival that spread like wildfire, inspiring more people to join the fight and never give up. The invaders, confident at first, now felt the ground shifting beneath them. Their technology, powerful as it was, could not fully adapt to the combined forces of nature and human will. Every advance they made was met with unexpected setbacks, from sudden storms and shifting landscapes to fierce ambushes fueled by local knowledge. In one forest, a squad of alien soldiers was trapped when vines moved with startling speed, tangling their machines and tearing them apart. In another city, rising tides flooded landing zones, forcing the invaders to retreat under heavy fire. The psychological battle was just as fierce. Alien commanders found their troops' morale dropping as they faced an enemy that refused to be defeated, no matter how dire the situation. The sense of invincibility that had once guided the invasion fleet began to crumble. Earth itself seemed to fight alongside its people, turning the environment into a powerful weapon that even the most advanced technology could not overcome. The invaders scrambled to adjust their strategies, but every change was met with a new, human innovation or natural defense. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle turned. What had started as a seemingly hopeless fight became a story of hope, courage, and unity. The world's inhabitants realized that their greatest strength lay not just in their weapons, but in their bond with the planet and with each other. They fought not just for survival, but for the right to live in harmony with the world that had always protected them. As the counterattack grew stronger, the invaders began to retreat, forced to reconsider their plans and face the harsh reality that Earth was more than just a resource-rich planet. It was a living fortress with defenders who would never surrender. The war was far from over, but with every victory, human spirits soared higher. The invaders learned a lesson that no technology could teach, that the power of a united people, standing with their planet, was unstoppable. The battle had finally slowed, and the smoke of war began to clear across Earth's battered landscapes. The once confident alien invaders now found themselves cornered and defeated, their grand plans shattered by a force they never truly understood. As their leaders gathered in quiet, tense meetings far from the front lines, they shared a heavy truth whispered through ancient records and passed down among the stars, but never fully believed until now. Countless species before them had attempted to conquer Earth, each failing in the same way. Crushed not just by weapons, but by the living planet, and the fierce spirit of its people. Now, after witnessing firsthand the unyielding will of humanity and the mysterious defenses woven through the Earth's very nature, the invaders finally understood why no other species had survived an attack on this world. It was not merely a battle of strength or technology. It was a fight against a force older and more powerful a force, born from the deep. Connection between the planet and its guardians. Humans, with their creativity, adaptability, and hope, were more than just survivors. They were protectors of Earth's legacy, carrying forward a bond that no invader could break. As they stood tall amid the ruins of conflict, humanity looked beyond the immediate victory to the future they must now defend. The planet itself seemed to breathe with a renewed energy, alive in ways the aliens had never imagined, ready to heal and grow stronger with its people. The invaders' defeat became a story that spread across Earth and beyond, a story of courage, resilience, and the power of unity. For the first time, the universe learned a lesson that Earth's defenders had always known. To conquer this planet was to face not just a race of beings, but a living, breathing force, protected by the very souls who called it home. And so, as the stars watched quietly from afar, humanity took its place, not only as survivors of an unimaginable trial, but as the true guardians of a world that refused to fall.